Hey guys, it's Brendan. I hope you guys have been doing well. I thought that this would be a good time to update the thesis and where we are in our supposed cake here with all of our layers. And real brief, what we went over last time was that we knew that at the bottom of our 10 to 12% channel of the initial drop that we would get a recovery of anywhere from I believe it was 8 to 10%. And layer 3 went into detail with a chop with a test. Okay. So here's our first layer with the initial drop. Our second layer, it's a little tricky. We can say it could be from this point and to the climb to check, or you can grab it from the bottom of the bear flag and call that layer 2. That's fine. Layer 3 was a check of support and a rejection of the top. Layer 4 was then another test of the top, a failed rejection, and a safety net down here at 436. So our range was pretty deep. Range went from 458, which we said was a possibility, back in layer 2, and it caught itself at the bottom down here at 435. So we knew that was going to happen. We knew that it was going to have a failed test. And layer 5, I don't really think I did any sort of details on it. I never spoke about it because we spoke about how everyone was talking about 1987, and this was just a sheer cliff in 1987. So we have a little bit different things going on at this point in time. So layer 5, I said in the beginning of the week on Twitter and in multiple discords, was that we needed a break. This move here alone from the top, when it caught to some support, was a, what is this? This is a 5% move. And then layer 5, we knew that a new layer would start once we started breaking up and really testing this resistance here, which is prior support over, it's about 455, right? Or yeah, 447. Okay, this is our layer 5. I said that we would need to cool off after such a steep drop. And from there, we really have been in a very tight range, cooling off and collecting for the next move. And today we saw what could potentially happen when we started to check our base, when we broke down under, I guess we broke down under 443, 441 breakdown. We played that tight channel, broke down, tested it, failed, came right back down to check our other support. So here we are now. And that alone was a 2.6% move. So it's not a lot. And if we were to go back and check, what do we have here? We have, so here is 2001 and 2002. We went over some of the similarities already. So, one can say, if we're still continuing to try to watch this, again, this is on a daily chart, you can see that there was a recovery. I have them kind of marked in yellow, so you know. So we'll go over here. So here is the top of a chop, which is, one can say this is where we're at now in this layer 5 area. I'm using a 65-minute chart now, thanks to a buddy of mine. Getting some good info on that. So this from top to chop, all right, was a 4% move here. And for us, it looked to be about a 3% move from 447 down to where support would be, which would be at 435. So kind of relative. And from here, they have another way to break out just like we do in this situation out of a 4% move. They can break up, obviously, break out of the 50 MA here on the daily and check the 200 and fall down, or the route that we could potentially go against the 200 on the 65, which is exactly what happened. We failed the 200 and dropped down. And from this point would give us a 9% drop. Okay, now what's important to note here, okay, the 9% drop only leads to a small chop channel. Okay, which, hey, we can be here too. We're in the same small chop channel, which from, let's say we were chopping up top here, and this is its own little percentage level. Let's see what that is. So we'll just take the top of 458. That's a good one. I mean, it's right around there anyway. Let's just take it. This is really where it broke down. Either way, that's about, you can argue another 2.5% move, or we can argue 3 to 4, depending where you want to take these measurements from. So pretty similar to either way. If we took it from this shoulder, this potential head and shoulders that they have here, that would be a 9% drop. Okay, so that's not what we have here. We have another 3% drop if we were to come down. But what we would have is if we dropped the 3%, 3.5% that we talk about here, right? 3%. We can then drop another 9%, which will give us 12. And that essentially would be from this point, okay? From this shoulder, if we decided to play a bigger pattern here, from this percentage point, we're dropping 15. So one, this didn't put it at a low. Obviously this went much lower. However, for the amount of money and in regards to inflation and so on, it's not as accurate, obviously. However, we can use it as a guide, because at 9.5% drop from 421, I have this landing at 380, which some would say is the epitome, like that's the bottom of the barrel, that's the end. And we just don't know, truthfully. But we know that from the 200 MA in 01 and 02, it was a 50% drop in the market. And if we go over here to 07 and 08, in overall, well, that's from the top. Let's take it from, I mean, if you took it from here, you're looking at 126%. Or if you take it from down here, is 121%. So the top, for instance, again, is 130%, and it goes out to about 120%. So depending where you want to start, again, mine starts from the 200. Either way, it's a huge loss regardless. Let's check what the percentage would be, because everyone's gauging at approximately, pretty close. So we said 380. That's only 20%. So if we went down to 350, 26%. And this to me is more realistic, 26% drop, because that's what it is on average. Once we hit the initial drop, we go even lower. So the two ways that we can play from here, or we can kind of suspect we're going to play, right? We can be biased in any direction, but I'll give you from here, if this support breaks down here at 430, 435.3, we're certainly going lower. Now, the two options, I had one option here that I was going to put at 425.95. And I even contemplated coming up here where the buyer stepped in earlier, creating that base, but regardless would have to fill anything that's down here and check for that support as well. So one idea was that we can stop at 437. That's not, you know what I mean? We already just chopped for almost 4 days. The next idea was to come down here and do 426. I thought that would be fair, but at the same time, you know, not to say we're grabbing percentages or I'm looking for a percentage, but if this is the beginning of if this is the top of layer 5, you know, 2.6% plus this will give us the 5%, which is what we need, or what the average would be, somewhere between 3-6%, to base down and then travel sideways again, right? Or really fall all the way down. We would fall from 435 into 420.4. So that's our range going down. And below that, we have obviously more. We have the 9%. We don't know where that goes exactly. Well, it goes to 380, but we don't know what that looks like, right? So it could be another layer. However, if for some reason we do decide to base here again, obviously we have to retest the high here at 447.96, and that's pretty close to the top, if not the top. But then we would also need to challenge the top, right? So the actual top of 6B potentially would be 465.39. Nope, that's wrong. Sorry. The top would be 457 on a ceiling with a challenge to 461 and then 465. So that would be the secondary movement. We would also at a ceiling, the minimum range would be 458, 457, back here to 448. That would be the range for that layer 6 if we were to decide to go that way. So just keep in mind, not to be biased, but this can move in any direction still, given the current climate. So just be careful and take care. That's all I got for you guys.